to you live from the On Air Media Studios here in Dallas, Texas. Welcome to Soundbites with Susan and Waylon, where we take a short extraction of our daily lives as publicists to share with you all. My name is Waylon Tate with J. Waylon and Associates.
And I'm Susan Friedman of Friedman Marketing and Public Relations.
And it's Monday, Susan.
Good
Monday
morning.
Motivation.
Yes.
I'm going to keep saying that because we need to be more motivated. This is a busy, rough weekend for both of us, for sure.
Well,
you
yeah,
more than me. You more than me, for sure.
It was a good weekend, though.
It was a great weekend.
Yeah, I had some downtime on Sunday, but we can talk about, some of the things that we did during the week, too.
Yeah, we sure can.
Because you are the publicist for the GLBT Chamber of Commerce.
I am.
North Texas, which I didn't realize. I thought it was just Dallas, but people were coming from Plano and Frisco and Fort Worth, and I went to a business networking meeting. It's called Coffee...
Brewing Up Breakfast.
Yes.
Brewing Up Breakfast.
And it was so much fun. It's held at Zephyrs, which we talked about before.
Sure.
And there was probably 40 people there, and I really liked the format. It was networking, and each person had 30 seconds to give their elevator speech.
Yes.
And like I said, there was probably 35, 40-ish people there, and a great selection of people from all over DFW.
Sure.
And I was really impressed.
Did you make any new connections?
I did. I made some. I need to do
Good.
some follow-up for sure.
They do it once
yeah.
a month, Susan, and it's really, it has grown exponentially, I have to say.
Yeah.
And not by nature of my work, but it's just, they're a really engaging group, a kind of a different kind of chamber, because I belong to a lot of other chambers. But thank you for saying that they are outside of just Dallas proper, because we're really trying to expand our reach, further north and west as well. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. And I'm glad that you went. It's a fun, I've been many, many times myself, and it's early. It's really early in the morning, but
8:30 to 9:30. It's not too bad.
Well, you're an early riser. I would sleep until noon if I could, but
yeah, but it is the first Thursday of the month. I think it's $10, I believe, if you are not a member. That's in advance if you go to their website, and then it's $20 at the door.
That's right, and it's a lot of fun, you guys. And it's at Zephyr, one of our favorite places.
Yes.
Did you see that they featured us on their Instagram? The picture that you and I took
No.
of us being there. Yeah, they featured it, and they said our favorite podcasters.
Oh yeah.
Susan and
Thank
Waylon.
you,
So
Zephyrs.
that was a lot of fun. This weekend for me, or actually even the rest of this past week. So let's talk a little bit about your about the event, the No Tie Dinner, because it was a lot of fun.
Yes, so I am the PR chair, have been for the last 8 years, for No Tie Dinner and Dessert Party, and it's a benefit it's the largest fundraiser for AIDS Services of Dallas. And our huge event was held on Saturday at the Frontiers of Flight Museum.
There we are.
We had an 80s prom theme, and it was an amazing, about 1,500 people attend this event. It was amazing. And to top it off, we've had our chair on. His name is Leslie Fry. He did an amazing job. Kudos to you. And our honorary chairs were Dr. Stephen Pounders, who's legendary in the community for his work with HIV and AIDS since the 80s. And then we also had Cameron Westcott from Real Housewives of Dallas.
Who was on our show last week.
She was on our show last week.
So adorable. And just for all of you who did not attend by chance, so they were filming at the event, and so we had to sign releases, which is always really interesting.
Did you sign a release?
I did. And I think it's the second one that I've signed for the same show, because you only have to sign it once. And but I wasn't gonna be like, well, I'm not signing this again, but so we just signed it or whatever.
Right.
But they looked really, really cute.
Everyone got decked out.
Yeah,
they looked amazing. And we're still collecting all the photos. I actually had a few, which you had seen earlier. I got those this morning. But we'll definitely show some more photos. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how some of the reality shows work and behind the scenes, because people don't know how involved they are, and even producing events. We had a lot of sponsors and a lot of people involved. And as you mentioned, you have to get releases signed off.
That's right.
And that alone, when you have over 20 dessert sponsors and liquor sponsors and everything, you have to have all of them sign off. And then you also need to have the people involved sign off.
That's
too.
right. And any guests.
And the guests. And you have to make sure that there's signage, and this is true with any reality TV show. Upon entrance, you have to make sure that there's signage that says you will be filmed, this is for taping, and all that kind of stuff is clearance for liability issues.
Liability and release, general release, meaning that they will be able to show any likeness and image of you. on television. And Susan, did you know that I was actually on a reality television show? I had one small set. So shout out to my beautiful best friend, Paula Perales. She was on a show on MTV about, God, 8 or 10 years ago called The Girls of Hetzer Hall. And so they filmed The Best Friends. So they actually filmed in my apartment and like a testimonial. So it's like I've actually been through that experience myself. And it's daunting because they make you do it about 10 times.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. But I can't imagine on the end of being the PR chair for an event like this and having that many sponsors that you have to get them to sign off, right?
The other thing, and this is specifically for this crew, but there were 30 crew members.
Jeez.
Can you imagine? 3 cameras, and they're all at different places at different times. So yeah, it was a huge production.
Well,
and that's not even including the event production.
That's right.
We started at 8 a.m. to set up, and I think I left there maybe around 12:15.
It was beautifully done,
and
I have
that
to
means
say.
PM, 8 a.m. to 12:15 p.m.
I mean, props to you,
So,
Susan.
yeah.
It was incredibly well executed. Everyone was having a good time.
We had
because
a
that was
great
layman.
committee and a lot of people involved to make it happen.
And a lot of good desserts. God, they were so good.
Yeah,
they were so good. It was a lot of fun, though. So I rose from the ashes after that event because, of course, the fun continued for me even after we left the event. And I went out with some friends. Yes. And then I had to get up early the next day because I went all the way outside of my bubble, which is, you know, the half-mile radius of Uptown and Oak Lawn, to Denton, Texas for drag bingo. At a club over there. Yeah, so Crudo Vodka, obviously one of our sponsors, you guys, you know, sponsored this event called Drag Bingo. And I have to tell you, it was so refreshing to be in a, how is the best way to say this, less progressive environment than Dallas, where those things are kind of expected and anticipated. And, you know, it's just a different folks, right? And super friendly. And they were loving every minute of it.
Oh, that's so cool. I need to
It was
go.
a 4-hour bingo session. Tons of performances by drag queens and really good drinks by Crudo Vodka. But it was a lot of fun. And I have to say, as I'm in this house search, I'm not moving to Denton. Okay, but I have to say it was refreshing for me to kind of be out there because it's so beautiful. Like I get so used to the noise and the concrete here.
See, I don't go to Denton that often. I used to go every year for Fry Street Festival.
It is beautiful over there. Like and super relaxed, and I felt like, I don't know.
Is it a college town still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
UNT everywhere, but it's just, I don't know if it's because there's so much greenery and trees and stuff that I was at peace, and it's a much slower
nice
pace.
to get away, whether it's for a staycation at a hotel or to Denton or Fort Worth or wherever.
Right.
But yeah, I'm glad that you left Dallas and went to Denton.
It was, yes, it was crazy.
And
it was
that
a good time.
kudos for them for doing the drag bingo.
Yeah, I know. It was, they're really,
Was it
really
a lot
involved.
of college kids that were there
No.
then?
No, I would say they
I'm
were
trying to figure out who the audience was. Do
our
people come
age.
from?
So definitely in their 19s and 20s. I wish. No, it was a really mixed crowd, but again, it was just refreshing to see. Probably, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say the majority of people there were not LGBT, which was great to see them because it all raises money for the North Texas Pride event that takes place in June, I believe. So. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, you mentioned Crudo Vodka, and we love Crudo Vodka.
We do.
And we love alcohol in general.
We do, every single show.
And today is a national holiday. So it's National Gin and Tonic Day, and so we brought some Hendrick's gin.
Yes, for Hendrick's gin.
And we brought some gin and tonic cocktails, and we're going to introduce our guest.
Yes.
We're going to start with a toast to our guest, Willie Johnson, fashion expert. Here you go.
Hello, hello.
Hello,
Cheers.
hello, cheers.
Happy Monday. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you
good
for
morning.
being with us this morning.
Did we drink the gin and tonic?
We can drink it right now.
Cheers.
Yes,
I know.
I needed that.
Okay.
It's refreshing.
That cucumber is
That
amazing.
cucumber. Well, rose petals and cucumber essence, they are a client of mine.
You know, in full disclosure.
Full disclosure, they're a client of mine.
You know what? I call Willie, among my own group of friends, I call him the model whisperer, right? Because I've known him for, how long? We've known, it's going on a decade.
Yeah, it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
About 10
For
years.
both of us, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, 10 plus years.
But he is, what do I always tell you, Willie? I'm like, you have to promote yourself more because he is so the silent but deadly. He likes to be behind the scenes. This is true. But anyone who knows anything about fashion knows who Willie Johnson is.
Yeah.
You hate to be
So
called a
true.
celebrity
It's so true.
stylist, so it's so funny, right? Because
Yes.
he hates the term celebrity
the term
stylist.
celebrity stylist.
And what do I hashtag every single time I post a picture of him on anything that we've done?
Celebrity stylist.
Yes.
No, don't do that.
So maybe that's a great way to segue. Like, why is it that, what do you find so offensive about that term?
Well, I do what I do because I have a passion for what I do. And so many people are getting caught up in the celebrity side of what they do that they lose their art, they lose their work ethic. They're too busy trying to be just seen instead of doing a job. And to me, styling is my passion, it's my art, and it's my job. And that's how I look at it, as opposed to, I want to style you so I can be on the red carpet with you. I want to take a selfie with a celebrity. No, you're here to dress and work their image and build them up. You know, everything will come to you. Don't go after it. Everything comes to me organically. So that's how I look at it.
That's really good. I need to, yeah, I like that quote. And I can't wait to hear your soundbite too. At the end.
I know.
So,
I know, it's good. We've started a new segment. We're ending with the soundbite. I've been watching, I don't know if you've seen this, which is kind of apropos to what we're talking about. So did you ever watch, or have you been watching on FX, it's the assassination of Gianni Versace. So it's the story of kind of his murder, but it goes way, way back. And so on the most recent episode, they went back and talked about where his love of fashion began, right? And so he was a young boy, and his mom's, she was a seamstress. And so I want to know, where did your love of fashion start? When and where?
My love of fashion started when I was like, when I was like 5 years old. I remember picking out dresses for my mom, but then also my very first fashionista that I encountered was my Aunt Cheryl. She was one of the first African-American women to be hired at Neiman's. She was hired by Stanley Marcus himself personally. She was Kim Dawson's maid, and Kim Dawson said, "You are too intelligent to be a maid." And she took her to Stanley Marcus, and Stanley Marcus said, "If you're good enough to work for Kim Dawson, you're good enough to work for Neiman's." And she worked there for 42 years, so I would be with her and watch her personal shop for people and her clients. She had some of the biggest clients in the day. She was traveling all over the world. She showed me jackets that were personally made from like Giorgio Armani because she would sell so much Armani. She has all these couture pieces in her home, like Chanel bags. She found a Chanel bag that was still in the box from the 80s. She was the top producer of Neiman's. She's still a legend there now. She's retired, and they ran out of awards to give her, and she has photos of her and Stanley Marcus. She told me about Stanley Marcus letting her buy belts one season and shutting the store down because she wanted to have a private party for her clients. So that's where I got everything from, is from my aunt.
How in the world have we known him for that long? I didn't know any of that,
didn't
did
know
you?
that story
You know why?
either.
Because Willie doesn't like to talk about himself.
it's not in your bio either. You need to put that in your bio. We're doing PR tips. We're like, that's a great
Yeah,
story.
we'll be right back.
I will. Yes. And
No.
even to this day, she still has some of the biggest, oldest clients from Highland Park to this day that she still does everything for them.
I
She
wanna meet her.
travels.
Yeah.
I will have to bring her to you guys.
No, that is so, I mean, I wasn't expecting a story like that. I was like, I
that's
used to flip through magazines when I was a young boy and I loved clothes. That's what I was expecting him to say.
No, it was
Not
my
that you have, there's lineage there. I mean,
She
there's,
told me stories. She even told me the story of the lady, Miss Charleston from Charleston Methodist Hospital,
Yeah.
how that was one of her best friends and clients, and how they would talk, and she dressed the family, styled them, and they wouldn't go anywhere until she went through their closets, and that's how I got everything.
Well, and then you used to model too.
Yes.
Right? Before you started your own company.
It was in the old days, called the 80s and 90s. Yes, that's what I modeled.
So that was also kind of, I guess, maybe your first realm also into it, as more working into it.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
So that's cool. And now you have your own company.
Yes, I do.
And so you do everything. We were saying he's the kind of go-to guy. You do model management,
Yes,
one-rate production, and styling.
correct.
What am I missing? Anything else? That's kind of, you do everything except produce the clothes.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Right.
I would be a horrible designer or seamstress.
Awesome. So what do you do? What is the majority of your, out of those three, what is the majority of your work? Would you say styling or runway production? You said he said you did 17 shows last week.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I was in Bryan, Texas. We do this event called the Fashion Event, and I produced 17 runway shows in 3 days.
Cannot even
Yes.
imagine.
The majority of the things I do, it's kind of a tie between fashion show production and model development.
Model development.
Yes, those are my two.
So
two
how
things.
do you,
They run
tell
neck and
us
neck.
more about model development, because when I think of model development, I think of Kate Moss in that I am now dating myself. But Kate Moss
Right.
supposedly got founded in an airport in London or something like that. And somebody's like, oh, I don't know if that's a true
Is
story.
that
I
really
read it
how it
somewhere.
happens, Willie?
Yeah.
1 out of every 1 billion, it happens like that. It'll happen like that. But for the most part, I tell everyone that enters into this industry, whether you want to be in front of the camera or behind the camera, you have to be willing to work. And that's what the first thing I teach when I talk to models, or anybody I mentor from designers, models, and stylists that work under me. I say, do you love the business? They'll say, yeah. I say, well, do you want to work? And they'll be like, well, what do you mean? I said, this is what this is.
Yeah.
You know, so I teach everyone what I call the admin side of the industry,
Okay.
not the Insta side of the industry.
I love that.
So I teach them how to, you know, you have to realize that you're a business first off. So everything you do is building your business. A lot of things, and I know the bigger agencies don't have time to do. Like I tell the models, okay, no, you can't wear that fingernail polish on a shoot. No, you have to go like this. No, please, your boyfriend and girlfriend can't come. This is what you need to bring. This is how you need to look. This is how you present yourself on auditions. Because sometimes the agencies, they get so busy because they're trying to submit. They're trying to submit
Right.
to clients. They're trying to get models booked, so they don't have time to stop and answer a simple, what color shoes do I bring? So
Right.
I develop models, I put them together, I help get their books organized, I show them what type of photos to use, and I'll send them to the agencies, and the agency might have to do just a couple more little tweak sessions with them, and they're ready to go, as opposed to totally build them from the ground up. You know, skin, hair, teeth, you know, a lot of people don't know that. And I teach models, stop depending on Photoshop, because I'm from an area where we didn't have Photoshop and digital cameras. So you had to know what you were doing, because you couldn't take a photo and the photographer could walk up and show you this. You had to know it right then. So that's what I teach them. Old school mixed with new school methods. is what
Well,
I
and
do.
modeling has changed so much. I mean, before there was a certain look, and that was pretty much a model. And now they're looking, from my understanding, the fashion industry is looking for more real people.
Yes.
And
yes.
so there's a lot more opportunities, I would say. And do you work with men and women and everyone? Like, even if you don't think, I mean, has anyone ever said, I want to model, and you're like, I don't think it's going to happen? Have you had to say that?
Well, I tell everyone there is room for pretty much everyone in the industry, but you have to know your niche. A lot of people, when they think of modeling, the first thing they think of is high fashion, runway, Vogue. And I tell everybody that is 2% of the business. Figure out the other 98% so you can work. You know, if you're 5'4", you can't do a runway show, but who's to say that you can't act? Because most actors and actresses are extremely small. If you're not the most, I hate to say this, the most attractive person visually, who's to say that you can't play the part of, you know,
The not
pretty person?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to say it like
You have
that,
good
but
humor.
for the most part, you know, you have to learn your roles. You know, like I look at,
Well, what about, and also this was an eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
I was 20 years old. I was in London doing an internship in fashion,
Yeah.
and one of our clients was a hosiery. And so they were scouting for foot models and leg models for it.
Yes.
And I was like, who would ever think, wow, I have really nice legs, so I'm going to go into foot modeling. I mean, who thinks about that?
Right.
You
That is another market. I have a girl that I work with. She's already done Neiman's twice, and all she's modeled is her hands. And she called me. She was like, "I can't believe I made this much money just holding handbags and just the arm and the elbow." So whatever part of your body can sell you, your body is your business card. So you can make it work.
I have broad shoulders.
Yeah, you can do shoulder modeling.
I could do
my
the Jenny
shoulders,
Craig
yeah.
before photos.
Yeah, I can be a before model.
Yeah, I can be a before model for sure. So what has been your experience? Because I know that you, Willie does a lot of stuff outside of Dallas as well. And I know that you have relationships with people all over the country. So is it true what people say that the most beautiful people come from Texas? I hear that all the time.
Of course we do. You know, I will say that because when I travel, like, you know, going to LA, you know, New York and other markets, I notice the women in Dallas are much more sexier because the women here like to be complimented. Whereas when you go somewhere like New York, you know, you open up a door for a woman in New York and she's liable to stab you because she thinks she's going to rob her. You know, where in Dallas, it's like the women, you know, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and women are walking around in 6-inch stilettos, full face makeup because they want to be complimented. They want to be sexy. Women here,
Embrace their sexuality.
They embrace their sexuality. The women in Dallas and pretty much the South period, they don't dress for comfort. They dress to look good. I mean, I come from a Southern Baptist mom who would spend hours in the mirror doing makeup, and I'm like, Mom, where are we going? Oh, to the grocery store. Or, you know, one day she was curling her hair and doing her makeup, and I was like, what are we doing now? Oh, I have to go take my photo for my driver's license. And I was like, you doing all that? She's like, you never leave the house without lipstick and pearls. That was her thing.
That you come from that generation, and I think that probably gives you, maybe that's your mold for what you go out to seek in the world. Are you able to look at, because it's so much more grueling, I think, than people understand as far as model development is concerned. So are you able to see someone in the raw and know what they could look like, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That is my favorite thing to do. I love finding someone that you would look at them and go, no, not at all. And then I was like, give me a couple of months. And then you'll be like, oh, wait a minute, this is not that person. That is what I like to do.
What do you do? I don't understand. Do you like give them a haircut? Do you?
I do all that. Whatever they're willing to allow me to do to them to help them become successful is what I do. From, you know, working on their bodies, working on their skin. I've had girls that one girl, she was beautiful, and I said, are you married to your hair? And she was like, well, no. I said, because your hair is making you short. Let's cut it up to the neck so the neck can be elongated and add a couple of inches to you. And she did it. She got signed. She's working. So it's things like that that I like to do. I love to build people up. And that's kind of my gift.
That was going to actually be my next question. Is Susan and I talk a whole lot about women empowerment on our show. And so I'm sure you've seen kind of this amazing trajectory of young girls or young women that may be lacking in confidence. And you take them through this journey, right? Have you experienced where they build just so much confidence because you enable them with the tools to develop that? Oh, yes.
I've trained younger girls that are like 13 and 14 and 15, and they're at that awkward stage where they're the tallest girl in school, and you know they get picked on and teased. And I remember teaching runway to a young girl, and her mom actually called me. She said, you said something to my daughter that stuck with her. You told her to stand tall because her legs were a blessing. And she's been walking like that ever since. You know, she wears the tallest shoes now. She doesn't care. You know, she was like, Mr. Willie said my legs are a blessing. And she said her grades have improved. She quit cutting class because she was embarrassed, because she was getting bullied because of her height. And a lot of times when you're teaching these people and you're working with younger kids, you know, it's all about planting a seed of confidence, not just trying to turn someone into a model.
Right.
Sometimes you have to teach them how to, because in this business, people are beautifully broken.
I was going to say, it's also innate beauty that really shines through, and you have to believe in yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I love
confidence.
that.
Yes, and so you just teach them how to just love yourself, learn that your legs are blessed and you're tall for a reason. That's why you're here. So let's love it. Let's embrace it. Stop standing like this and stand like this, you know, so.
Oh, I just want to bottle you up and spray you on every morning.
Okay. It'll be Willie number 9.
He's okay with that. So what's on your upcoming agenda? You talked with us before the show that you're already leaving here to go work on some more projects.
Yes, I have some projects in the works. This Saturday, I am working on an event called AIN. It stands for Accessories in the Nude, no nudity.
Love
The
it.
tagline, it's a jury accessories design competition. And the tagline is, without the proper accessories, you might as well be nude. And so we have a ton of amazing judges from all walks of life that are in the top of their fields.
Okay.
I.e., Susan is going to be one of my judges on Saturday.
Thank you.
She's
I am
going
so
to be a judge.
honored.
I'm so excited to have her.
I'm worried because I've seen the list of talent,
No,
and
it's going to be amazing.
it's going to be a
It
tough.
is going to be amazing. So,
Yes.
what I love about it is we're donating to the Birthday Party Project.
What is that?
That is an organization. They provide 30 plus free birthday parties a month for homeless children and orphans. So they do full out birthday parties. Like I went to the warehouse, and if it's a princess theme, they have like the princess, the bounce houses, they go all out for these kids, and especially for the orphanages, because they're under so many rules that day at the show they can just be children and run and play and jump and just enjoy themselves for that day, you know, because can you imagine being homeless and being an orphan, and your birthday comes up and you have nobody to celebrate with? So what they do is it's a huge organization that do that. So we are donating our money to that for Saturday. So
And how much are tickets?
I think tickets start at $25. Okay. You can go to aincompetition2018.eventbrite.com.
Okay. We'll
and
share
check
that.
it out. Yes.
We'll
That's
share
a
that
long
on our
one,
social
yeah.
media.
Yes.
So, and also, I wasn't quite sure. Are you the actual founder of AIN?
No, I am not.
Because this is just one event that you produce,
one of
correct?
yes, one of many.
One of many throughout the year.
No, I am not. I'm the executive producer. Okay. I call her my sister in crime. Miko Kraut is the executive founder. She's a huge accessories fanatic, and we would always talk about fashion, and she would always say, no one concentrates on accessories designer. I'm going to do something that targets accessories designers only, and that's been her MO for the past 10 years.
That's so wonderful. Well, I look forward to meeting her on Saturday.
Yes, you will. You will. You will.
Very good. And so a little bit more about this event. First of all, you find upcoming emerging talent, not people that we're already going to know.
Yes.
Right.
So, and it's across the board for accessories. There's going to be jewelry, there's going to be hats, bags,
bow ties, everything.
Everything. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it.
It's
Again,
going to
thank
be
you for inviting me.
an amazing time, and I'm excited about it.
Yay.
Yes.
Awesome. I wanted to say a couple of things too that were.
Sure.
Well, do you have plans for this week?
No.
I'm going to that, obviously.
You need to be there, James.
I will be there.
I will be there.
I will be there.
I have to mention this really, really fast because I'm super excited about it. Are you a fan of Tyra Banks?
Of course.
Oh my gosh, she's going to be here on Wednesday. She is going to be here Wednesday. She is promoting a new book. She's going to be here with her mom. And I just bought tickets yesterday as I was writing this up. But I didn't realize that she actually is a Harvard graduate and she teaches at Stanford. Did you guys know that? Tyra Banks is doing that now.
No, I had no clue.
Yes, she has so it says that she graduated from the Owner President Management Program at Harvard Business School. And she's teaching personal branding at Stanford.
How could she
A lot of people, she went from model to executive producer of America's Next Top Model to like, she kind of, you guys remind me of each other and everything that you've accomplished and everything, and really taking a look at the fashion industry as a profession and building people up and everything. And I was just like, we were having this conversation. I'm like, you remind me of Tyra Banks now.
She is quintessentially the idea of continuing a career in modeling after modeling,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Because I think that there's, it's one of the very few careers that is short-lived. I mean, I don't think I'm out of place of saying that most models don't continue after, 18, 20, 25 maybe?
Yep, but you have to learn the art of reinvention.
Yes.
Well,
That is
and
an
it
art.
sounds like I was reading up on her and her mom. Her mom is actually going to be speaking as well.
Wow.
And her mom said when Tyra was supposedly at her height in modeling, her mom's like, okay, so where are the other models who were formerly at your position? You know, like, what are you going to do next? So her mother instilled that thought early on in Tyra's career. So, yeah. Anyway, you should go. It's going to be at Wiley Theater on Wednesday, 7:30, I believe. And tickets are $37 to $67, and it includes a signed book.
Oh, that's
so
nothing.
yeah. I was really impressed with it. I can't wait to see it.
But how did Tyra go to college without the world knowing? She must have taken private classes and had some people come to her home and sign non-disclosures that they can't because that would be
really
all over the
interesting.
campus. Can you imagine taking
Tyra
notes? You and Tyra being in
Yeah.
a study group.
She's like, can I borrow a pencil?
I can't imagine. I'd be so nervous just having Tyra Banks teach the class. I would be like, oh my
Can I borrow a
God.
sheet of paper? Here, take my tablet. Just take it.
You can have it. You can have it.
That is
Awesome.
Susan, I may have to join you for that because I've always been a really big fan of hers. And I think it would be, I've been trying to get out and do more of like that actual kind of stuff. So,
I think it'll be really interesting.
yeah, and I love signed copies of anything. So I'm a book freak. I don't know if you know that, but I love books. So we'll have to, maybe I'll have to join you for that.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Very
so,
good.
God, well, unfortunately, we are out of time. We are certainly going to end this note on Willie's soundbite.
Yeah.
Right? So let us have it, Willie.
Okay, my soundbite is whether I work with a stylist, model, designer. I am passionate about finding the diamond in the raw and making he or she shine.
Love it.
Cheers.
Hashtag cheers.
Hashtag.
All right, have a
and
wonderful
tonic.
Monday,
Yes.
everyone. We'll see you next week.
Enjoy your holiday.
Thank you.